one of the ways I work is off of guiding principles, and it's sort of a general strategy or a theme, and I keep that resident, and then as life comes whipping by me, I can't keep up with life, but I can keep these rudders called these principles or guiding principles or strategies, and then I can sort of test life to those to see whether, and one of the ones I use is I call it a CAP, and it's just CAP. It stands for be curious, be aware of what God is doing, and then be prayerful so that you can take advantage of whatever it is. So I'll tell myself, keep my cap on. As a general strategy, as a general guiding principle, I want my cap on wherever I go, especially at the workplace, because a lot of complex politics or complex relationships or stress, and people are very stressed because the more throughput the company can do, the more productive they are, the more money they're going to make. And so you have that grind, which is God directed in terms of just allowing business to move us forward. But at the same time, it can go too far and damage, and you need to know where that line is. And so having a cap on it, just being curious about people's lives, being curious about what God's up to during the daytime, being aware that, hey, these kinds of things, God created something in advance for me, and be aware that, hey, this might be it. And then be prayerful, saying, God, I can't pick this out on my own. I'm not that smart. And so help me to see it, to take advantage of it, to speak the right words, to do the right things, or not speak those words, or not do these things, and just being aware of those kinds of things. I call that putting my cap on, and that's just part of everyday guiding principle for me. Another guiding principle is really I got in a leadership training I got with a company called LDN, but and it's just a three-letter word of lead, develop, and care for people, and it's really designed for leaders, of which we all are leaders, but a lot of us are in denial on that people are following us or watching us, but more than likely someone is, whether it's in your family or a friend or something. But so a lot of times with people, I'm trying to think, how can I help lead them to the vision that God gave them? And so part of my vision is to help them figure out what vision or calling did God give them, and how can I help them on that? So that's the lead part, is helping them be led by God for whatever wherever God's taken them. And then the develop is how can I help develop that? So if someone says that I really feel called to the workplace, how can I help develop that for them? What kinds of resources can I bring to the table that they might be helpful to them, or is there a passage I read in Scripture that might be helpful to develop them? And is there some kind of materials I've heard? Whatever I can use to help develop. Or it could be, there's a missions trip. That might be a really good thing for you to take as your next step to help develop, given that you told me this is what you want, this is what you think God's wanted you to do. So it's matching up people's vision through the leadership, the lead piece, into developing them so that they feel like I'm helping them develop to where God's called them to do. And then that creates care, because they're going to say, gosh, he cares about me. He's actually helping develop. He cares about listening to me for their vision. And so that's the care piece. And then the care piece also is supplemented by just understanding you're a person. You're not just, a series of tasks. You're a person. So how do I care? So flipping into those lead, develop, care related to person X and lead, develop, care person Y that I'm involved with, those help me to see beyond just the task, because that's so easy for me just to see the task in people. But it helps me to see them as a person, that God's called them to something. How can I help lead them to what the vision that God gave them is, and how can I help develop it, and how can I care for them as a person? I have a guiding principle as well of just how can I be helpful? What can I do to help people grow in their relationship with God? But it goes beyond that. It's also how can I be helpful for them to grow in their career? And how can I be helpful for them to grow in their family or into the community involvement? That whole concept of balance of understanding career, faith, family, community, and how all that gets balanced is a big thing. So that's a diagram I've used for quite a while, and it always seems to come up because it just seems to be very pervasive in our culture to really forget to be balanced, and you focus in on career, or you focus in on just family, or you focus in on just church, and you lose perspective of the total ministry that God's got in store for you. Prayer is a critical piece in the morning to get me acclimated initially and to put God's things first, but then it happens throughout the day. When I'm walking down the hall, I might be prayerful to where I'm going to my next meeting, or if I know I'm meeting with somebody that ticks me off or gets me angry, it's like praying for them, and how can I have a better frame of mind, but still keep corporate interest in mind, but also have respect in mind as well. And so all those things end up becoming the soil to then know whether to say something or not say something. But in terms of that knowing, not knowing, assuming that bed of prayer is there, and being alert and looking for those moments, and being willing to look for those moments during the daytime, there's also clues. And so people really want to have those conversations. And so they will do things to signal it in a masked way. It could be that they pray before they eat. It could be that they just bow a little bit, or they could be that they said the word blessing. Well, that's just not a normal world in our culture. You know, in a normal word of thankful, well, who are you thankful to? I mean, it's like that. Those are spiritual words. So if you see people say thankful, blessing, or if they did something encouraging to somebody and you witnessed it, those things are a lot of times generated by the Spirit. And so it's like, join them. Go talk to that person. Catch them for a break and just say, hey, I saw you with so-and-so, and the way you handled that was just really cool. I love the way you were encouraging, and the way you said that, or the way you did that, or the way you didn't do that was really noticeable, and I just thought I'd encourage you with that. And that can just open up a spiritual conversation. And so, but once that conversation gets going, then it can go a lot of different places.